Great to be here and have the opportunity to speak to the Melbourne Business School Leaders Forum, and I think it's fantastic. Notwithstanding the digital world that we live in with information at our fingertips 24/7, I think forums like this are particularly important for us to have a chance, an opportunity to share ideas and thoughts about leadership, and certainly in my career and leadership journey, forums like these have been extremely valuable. Now, of course, I would think that my youthful appearance, and I don't want Annette Kimmitt to laugh too much, but would make it hard for you to believe that it was almost 30 years ago that I walked out of university, or at least undergraduate university, supposedly prepared and ready to tackle the world of professional services. Again, it'd be no surprise that the job market that I entered was very different to the job market of today. Not only in the sort of well-documented advances in technology, but in the workplace itself, work styles, and the demographics of the workplace. For example, 4 decades ago, a 25-year-old had an average tenure in an organisation of approximately 6 years. Roll forward to now, it's about 3.4 years. Similarly, a 45-year-old in an organisation in that time had a tenure of about 12 years. It's now about 6 years. So halved over that relatively short period of time. I guess to further illustrate the change that we're experiencing at the moment, 730 baby boomers in Australia retire each day, in part being replaced by 800 people in Australia who turn 18. So this generational shift in the workforce has been increasingly gathering pace and is now beginning to have a very significant impact on the way we all work and do business. But we're not only facing internal change in the workforce. The fourth industrial revolution is arguably the most transformational time in human history, and digital disruption is rewriting every part of our lives. No sector or industry is immune to the dramatic shifts that innovation delivers now and the future. And you always worry, certainly in our clients, that if someone says they're not impacted, that's a pretty big red flag for us to see. Machines are already encroaching on fields once thought the sole domain of the human mind. Eventually, innovation will come to define what it means to be human. So if innovation defines what it means to be human, is there something that defines what it means to be a company? And for me, the answer is purpose. With the organisations we lead and involved with really standing on shifting sands, purpose serves as the guiding star to take us in the right direction. Research by EY's Beacon Institute, which is a group of executives, academics that we brought together for the first time in Davos in 2015, support the view that purpose helps companies navigate today's volatile world. Little surprise, the vast majority of business leaders agree the world is volatile and disrupted. But 73% of companies say purpose is important to helping them successfully navigate a disrupted world. Much of the commentary around purpose would lead you to believe that it's only important for millennials, or perhaps those 800 Australians that are turning 18 every day. But the research shows that that's not the case. It's equally important for Gen Xers and for baby boomers, because purpose helps provide us with the means to create a legacy. Put simply, purpose is universal. And I see this every day at EY, where our purpose of building a better working world has been a key element in globally being recognised as the most attractive employee for business students in the professional services arena. Because those millennials, and they are mainly millennials, have a real and authentic desire to work with an organisation where the why is clear. But it's not just the graduates. I also see those coming towards the end of their executive career. Perhaps they've been partners for 25, 30 years. And they are really looking at the why as my career, the why for their career. How do they leave a legacy? Notwithstanding, when they started their career, they really only needed to know what to do and how to do it. So tonight I'd like to share with you some observations about purpose that I've learned as EY has been on its journey to be a purpose-led organisation. But I guess first we should address the basics. What is purpose, and does it really matter? It has been difficult to agree on a definition, but a working definition's up on the screen. And it commonly refers to an aspirational reason for being that is grounded in humanity and inspires a call to action. Now, there is a business case for purpose, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Companies with a purpose tell us that it drives value in both the short and the long term. But it's important to note that not all purposes are created equally. Today's most admired companies increasingly are those that have made purpose their motivating raison d'etre. This broad understanding of corporate purpose is now more widely held than other definitions, including bringing value to customers and benefiting employees, both of which also speak of a company with broader human-centric concerns than simply maximising shareholder value. While there can be a significant difference in its meaning from one company to the next, and that can be entirely appropriate, human-centred, socially engaged definition of purpose has emerged. And we've labelled this definition as capital P purpose. Our study demonstrates that it's companies that adopt a capital P purpose who stand out from the rest when it comes to realising the benefits that purpose affords. Companies with purpose, and purposeful companies, in particular seeing integrating their purpose as a much bigger and challenging undertaking than do those with a single stakeholder conception of purpose. So embedding purpose in your organisation is not easy. It's not something you decide to do on a Friday and have done by the next Friday. Companies with a capital P purpose say it needs to be central across more areas of an organisation and embedded deeply into their decisions, strategy and culture. Now, when studying successful organisations of the past, I think it can be demonstrated that many had a real and authentic purpose, albeit that it may not have been as overt, transparent and espoused as it would be today. However, I would contend that purpose matters more today than it has done in the past. To the cynic, 10 years ago, the word purpose was marketing spin. One of my colleagues from the marketing team here now. 10 years ago, we didn't have the clearly defined language to describe and discuss purpose that we have today. 10 years ago, purpose was often a lofty ambition, a diktat from the board that may have trickled down to staff if you were lucky. But over the past 10 years, members of the global business community have made good progress in closing the gap between rhetoric and reality. And this has been due to some powerful forces, including the trust deficit, the sustainability imperative, rising social inequality, diminishing brand control, conflicting time horizons, and disruption from digitisation. Now, tonight I'll focus my remarks on the links between purpose and disruption. Purposeful companies tell us that becoming purposeful strengthens the key attributes required to survive and prosper in a disrupted world, including the agility to innovate and capacity to drive transformational change. They have the attributes required to survive and prosper, and they see the highest incremental value from purpose integration for both short and long-term value. Purpose matters because it brings a stable perspective and strengths that are needed in a volatile world. Companies with a purpose see the world as a balance of opportunities and risk, in contrast to organisations with a single stakeholder focus who tend to see the world as black and white, opportunity or risk. Capital P purpose drives greater value creation for companies who truly embrace a well-integrated purpose into the fabric of their organisations. The strong majority of executives of purposeful companies told us that this integration didn't just deliver long-term benefits, but also immediately realised short-term benefits. Now, to understand purpose, it's probably helpful to go back to why, and I suspect many of you are familiar with Simon Sinek. In fact, if you're studying org behaviour or many aspects here at MBS, you've probably seen his TED talk on the power of why. If you haven't, I'd certainly recommend having a look at it. So when I say it's not what you do or how you do it, but why you do it, provides a clear lead to what we're talking about when we refer to purpose. Purpose is about transcending from what you do through how you do it to answer the question of why do you exist. For me and for EY, we exist because we're building a better working world. The marketing department didn't sit down and brainstorm a new tagline to sell our services. As a global senior leadership team, we sat down and worked out what impact we wanted to have in the world. We collectively answered the question of why we come to work every day and the reason we exist. and it's beyond making money. It serves as our guiding star to align and prioritise what the 250,000 EY people and 7,000 closer to home in Oceania do every day and define how they will do it. Because when you're building a better working world, it means you're proud of the contribution you make to individuals, to clients and to your communities. You don't take on projects that will disenfranchise your people. You don't operate in a way that marginalises stakeholders. It means you are proud of supporting entrepreneurs and the number of careers you start and develop. In Oceania, and just to be clear, it's not like Atlantis, but Oceania is Australia, New Zealand, Fiji and Papua New Guinea in the EY world. But in Oceania, over 500 graduates start their working lives with us. And I'm particularly proud of being able to create an opportunity for a young person to start their career. I think it's a great privilege as well as a significant responsibility. Purpose acts as a strategic boundary for organisations. As a leader, building purpose in your organisation provides every one of your employees with an automatic sense check to see whether the decision they're making in taking the organisation in the right direction. Essentially, purpose provides every individual working in your organisation with a toolkit to make sound judgment calls. As a leader, it helps you have the comfort that every person who works for the organisation is acting in a way that is consistent with your vision and your strategy. Providing the strategic boundary of purpose is essential to any organisation's ability to innovate effectively, because innovation without purpose leads organisations in every direction at once. But innovation with purpose acts as a strategic decision-making boundary and a guiding North Star. I mentioned the Beacon Institute research briefly before. Purposeful companies told us that integrating purpose deeply in their organisation creates value and enhances the capabilities for success in a disrupted world. Now that includes the agility to innovate, the ability to drive transformation, and importantly, risk awareness, management and mitigation. It also revealed that many Australian companies are generally dismissive of purpose, failing to embrace the fact that purpose helps build customer loyalty, brand and people engagement. My view is that this is incredibly dangerous because whilst Australian companies were most likely to view that we are currently living in a volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world, they were least likely to view purpose as a way to help innovate and create new services and drive the development of new value. My argument is if we accept that the best way to counter disruption is to innovate and that we cannot effectively innovate without the clear strategic boundaries drawn by purpose, a purposeless organisation cannot ever hope to counter disruption. Collectively, this would mean we fall behind as a country. It's clear from my experience in our research that corporates in Australia are able to see this disruption coming. They're seeing it, they're feeling it, they're experiencing it, they're reading about it every way. But many are reacting in very traditional ways because they're not crystal clear on their purpose. They can't say, we do this, we don't do that because of our purpose. A common response to disruption is to add to the leadership team. Perhaps tack on a head of innovation or a head of customer or a head of digital or a head of data analytics and try and build capability in-house. But an effective response to innovation may not be to bring everything in-house, expanding your purpose and your budget in the process. In many ways, it could be the exact opposite of what should be done. The more effective response is to acknowledge that you don't need to own or develop everything yourself. Your purpose can provide the guiding star to the decision of whether you should take something in-house, create a partnership, alliance or other form of joint venture to access the skills, knowledge and mindset to respond to this disruption. As I said, parts of the Australian economy are lagging in this regard and we run a distinct risk of falling behind if the collective response to disruption is not improved. The old truism that it takes a village to raise a child is equally relevant here. Innovation is the culmination of thousands of baby steps made by hundreds of different players. It can't be captured, siloed or controlled by a single organisation. In the age of disruption, we need more collaboration than ever before. Governments will not find the right answers without working with corporates. Corporates, in turn, need to embrace entrepreneurs to challenge and reinvent their businesses. And we need the academics to work with the private sector so we don't just create great ideas, but we bring them to market. Thanks for your example. There you go. EY started down the path of becoming a purpose-led organisation in 2013 when we launched Vision 2020. Now, that was originally an ambition, strategy and positioning piece that helped us respond to some of the challenges in our industry and to be the leading professional services firm by 2020. At the heart of Vision 2020 was taking a step back and asking what would really help us achieve success. And the clear answer was that the roots of our future success would be our ability to create purpose for ourselves, for our employees, and to be able to demonstrate that to our clients and our communities. As I mentioned, this strategy was driven by the challenges we knew we would face. In fact, we were already facing. On the demand side, it was responding to mega trends like globalisation, the empowered customer, demographic change, and the shift from north and west to south and east. We also knew that we were facing increasing disruption from automation, offshoring, and the demand from employees for and the rise of a contingent workforce, which could either seriously threaten or turbocharge our business model. We understood that true innovation requires diversity of thinking, and we all know there are proven direct links between a company's gender diversity and its innovation and business performance. And of course, it's not just gender diversity that is important. Diversity of thought and experience is key to navigating the challenges of disruptive innovation. Achieving greater diversity in leadership teams will not only increase the talent pool, boost innovation, enhance customer outcomes and improve profitability, but it is also fundamentally supported by a purpose of building a better working world, creating equal opportunity and assisting in the fair distribution of outcomes. We also realised that purpose would help us face the challenge of opportunity. With every new technology, every digital development, every disruptive challenge the business faces comes the opportunity to develop a new solution and add value to our clients. As I mentioned earlier, purpose serves to draw a strategic boundary to solve difficult decisions. And I'm proud to say it's worked. When you look back at all the new service offerings we've established, every acquisition we've made, every alliance we've entered, every single one of them helps us build a better working world. Purposeful companies recognise that because of rising stakeholder expectations and the changing business environment, the purpose journey is not an option. As they integrate their purpose, they unlock the value that it can provide, enhancing the capabilities that are critical to navigating disruption and unlocking both short and long-term value. When companies start on the purpose journey, the clock starts ticking. Purposeful companies see this need to integrate even more so than their colleagues who have articulated a broader purpose but have yet to begin their journey and take concrete steps to progress along the curve. The moment of greatest danger for a company, when the most value is at risk, is when there is a big gap between stakeholders, what stakeholders expect of the firm and its reality. Words without action run the risk of unmet stakeholder expectations and missed opportunities. However, as purpose becomes more central to an organisation, companies unlock the value and the stability that it can provide. For us at EY, central to building a better working world and our purpose is teaming, enabling greater collaboration across functional service lines and industry sectors, as well as with alliance partners and other third parties. Along the way, we found that purpose, when lived through shared experience, is contagious. We've created contagious purpose in two ways, through language and storytelling. And I'd just like to share a brief story, which I think is an example that demonstrates purpose in action and I hope brings together a few of the themes that I've been referring to tonight. Some of you may have heard of the organisation Bravehearts. It was founded by a lady in Brisbane. Her name's Hetty Johnson, and it was founded after her daughter was sexually abused. Its mission is to prevent child sexual assault in our society, and its vision is to make Australia the safest place in the world to raise a child. Now, we've been helping Bravehearts in what I would describe as the traditional way professional services firms would do so. We would host Bravehearts in the office, maybe with some of their sponsors. We'd put a lunch on. We would donate to an annual fundraising drive, sponsor a dinner. But after a while, it became clear that there was more that we could do than just support boardroom events to help drive and sustain Bravehearts' vision and mission. Across EY are teams of risk management professionals who are trained to help organisations identify, manage and mitigate risks, a range of risks occurring in Australian business. So together with Bravehearts, we created Childplace Health and Safety, which is an offering where we go to market together with Bravehearts with our combined expertise, helping organisations address the gaps in their risk management frameworks that create opportunities for the abuse of children. Together we've helped institutions, including schools, hospitals, restaurants and airlines, create a safer environment for every child with whom they come in contact. Together we've created a better working world for Australian children. And from this, Bravehearts and EY have a sustainable revenue stream. We're able to offer service which without this collaboration would be absolutely impossible. Institutions are better prepared to manage their risks, and of course the environment is safer for children. And EY people are super engaged as they can see the positive impact their work is having in the community. It's just the sharing of stories like this, and there's many more, and the creation of a real language around purpose, which has helped our purpose grow and thrive at EY. Now, I'd like to finish by sharing with you a concept of purpose which might help you apply it in your own organisations. You may have heard of the paradox of the ship of Theseus. It's pretty simple, and it's fair to say I'm going to adapt it a little bit here, so it's not exactly as said. Theseus, in my version, Theseus sets sail to return to Crete from Crete to ancient Athens in his ship with a cargo of wood on the journey. Theseus and his men repaired the damaged planks with their cargo of wood on the journey to the point that not a single plank of the original ship remained by the time they arrived in Athens. The question this paradox leaves with us: did Theseus arrive in Athens in the same ship that he left Crete, or an entirely new ship? As leaders, the question is, as our organisations and the people within them fundamentally change and transform, are we leading the same organisation, or are we leading an entirely new one every couple of years? When you create purpose in your organisation, you can ensure that you are leading the same organisation every single day, no matter the change in services and capability or how many contingent workers help build it, no matter the number of planks you change in the ship of your organisation. So in summary, purpose instills strategic clarity, it channels innovation, is a force for and a response to transformation, taps a universal need and builds bridges. So I encourage every single one of you to not just provide the people in your organisations now and in the future with paychecks, but to provide them with paychecks of purpose. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to discussing your questions. Thank you.